Hey everyone, Regal Reviews here. It is White Rice Wednesday, which means time for my Survivor recap. So, yeah, epic, tribal. I'll get to that later. So, to recap on tonight's episode, Angelina is doing some jury management because, well, no, she's doing some damage control because she got caught trying to do jury management last week. And Dan's pretty much annoyed by Angelina at this point, and I think it's a complete double standard because Dan was talking about how Angelina is perceived as a threat and she was, didn't like that, but yet he's allowed to throw a fit when Elizabeth saw that he and Kara are a threat because they're a power couple. And it's, the Strike Force Alliance isn't as, together as I thought, because Mike doesn't exactly trust Gabby because Gabby was very outspoken at the last tribal council, so he's wondering if Gabby's really a true alliance member and potentially he wants to get Gabby off, and Christian does not like that at all because you know how he and Gabby are really close, so yeah, Christian's not gonna let him vote Gabby off. And then epic happens. Nick and Davy go into the forest because they see that they're number-wise on the bottom. So they go to look for an idol, and Davy ends up finding this clue. And it looks like the paper that we saw, last week. So I thought, to what Gabby said, that something like an idol or an advantage is hidden somewhere in the game. So I thought literally like the paper that I think it said the merge. I thought that something along that line, like the back of it might be an advantage or something in the basket might be an idol. Well, they go to look for it, but so they don't come across as, you know, going to look for an idol. Davy kind of creates a diversion by showing off some like ninja moves. So everyone doesn't see that Carl and Nick are going off to this palm tree that's in the picture. And Nick doesn't find an idol, but he finds an advantage. That's a classic steal advantage, so hopefully they can use that in their favor. And now between them, because Carl, Nick, and Davy each have something, because Davy has an idol, Carl has the idol nullifier, and Nick has technically has the steal vote because he's the one that found it. So the reward challenge, they're divided up to into two teams of 6, and they have to hold on to these sandbags that are connected to this trough, and if anyone drops their sandbag, they're out, like a whole bunch of water will fall on them. And they're playing for pizza, both meat and vegetarian, so I don't know, the pizza doesn't look the greatest, but after 20-some days, I'd be wanting pizza. So apparently, what's also another twist in the challenge is that after 15 minutes, somebody has to drop. So they have to give their sandbag to someone, so potentially somebody could end up with like 5 sandbags holding them. And at one point, Dan had a case of overconfidence because he was holding 3 bags with one hand. And they're like, come on, guys, why aren't you... Dudes, where's the bros at? And Gabby mentioned how they're playing smart, and then literally like 5 seconds later, Dan dropped. So Dan cost his team to lose. So yeah, at least Angelina wasn't happy about that. But when they get back, Mike isn't too happy that they're really enjoying the pizza. He doesn't really think they're playing the game. Mike then pitches to Alec to get rid of Christian because going forward, he is, well, arguably he's the biggest social threat in the game right now. And going forward, if he makes it to the final 3, he has a good chance of winning. And Mike then tells the Goliaths that they need to get out Christian, and they agree. But again, a double standard, because Angelina just last week at the last tribal, well, not last tribal, but last week, pitched to get Christian, but they all thought she was nuts. But Mike pitches it, and they're all for it. Yeah, exactly. And then Angelina is also worried because they said that Angelina should be the decoy. So in case that Christian pulls an idol, then Angelina would be sent home. So yeah, that would ruin her whole game. At the immunity challenge, they had to balance on this narrow perch, and they had to hold this ball in place with these two buoys. And it ended up being a showdown between Dan and Angelina. Dan commented at one point how Brad Culpepper is his idol. Apparently this challenge was only played once in Game Changers, and Culpepper lasts 23 minutes. These people were out like a minute or two. I'm like, oh my god. Like, all of a sudden, they were dropping like flies. Like, you're down to like 5 people. Like, lickety-split. And it ended up being Dan that won immunity. So, congrats, Dan, on winning immunity. And Angelina, you did so good. Like, you should be proud of yourself. And, again, Mike reiterates that he wants Christian gone. So, back at camp, they're wondering how this tribal should go. The Christian Alliance, of course, wants Angelina gone because of what happened last week. But John, again, mentions what I said earlier, that Christian is a threat going forward. And that he feels bad about voting Christian off because they're part of the Brochachos, and he predicts a Brochacho blindside tonight. So, but they want to keep the numbers strong for them. And Alex mentions that if the Goliaths are the majority, then he'll go with the Goliaths. And then Nick decides to tell Christian that basically it was implying that he needs to watch out because it might be him tonight. And Nick then asks Davey if he's willing to use the steal a vote to save Christian. And Davey's honestly thinking about it because they need Christian for their alliance for numbers. So, and Christian hasn't really done anything like noticeable yet. And isn't really a threat to Nick and Davey's game at this point. But, let's see here. Let me see here. And Nick is also unsure what to do because at this point he's under the radar. So if he plays a steal a vote, then everybody is going to know that, oh, he has this advantage. Oh, now Nick's a threat. Then Nick could easily go home next tribal council. But if he doesn't do anything, Christian goes home and they lose an alliance member. And Davey says the only thing that's going to save Christian is an idol. So that implies that maybe Davey will play his idol for him. And potentially, if the vote's like half and half or something, they could go to rocks. So at tribal council, they're talking about how Elizabeth exposed the cracks last tribal council, how Angelina wasn't being, I guess, trustworthy to her tribe. And they're talking about how voting out a threat now, when you have the opportunity, might be essential. So that should make Christian scared. And also how, everybody says they trust each other, we're loyal. But Carl makes an excellent point saying that you don't know who to trust until those votes are read. Then you could see, oh, wait a minute, you have 6 people, but like 4 went against you. You don't know who to trust, basically, until those votes are read. Then you have to do damage control and everything. So Davey then gets up and plays his idol for Christian. And Christian looks like he's so grateful at the moment. And then Angelina being the decoy, she fears for her game. And Dan at one point did say that he would play his idol for Angelina, but then turned around and said to another player that he wants her gone. So Angelina is begging Dan at this point to give her his idol. And it looked like he was just going to let Angelina go home. But sure enough, Dan actually plays his idol for Christian. So it looks like it may not be a tie, go to rocks thing. It might be another no votes tribal. And we haven't seen one of those since Second Chance, that famous tribal council. So, it's getting to the end. I'm thinking, oh my God, what are they going to do? How are they going to solve this? I forgot how they solved it, if they re-voted or they just went to rocks right away. So someone comment down below and please tell me what they did in second chance. So, shockingly enough, there was 2 votes for John, and John ended up being sent home. Actually, if you look at the end, it was actually 3 votes against John, so yeah, I mean, I was shocked. I thought either for sure Dan wasn't going to play his idol and Angelina was going home, or I thought they were definitely going to go to rocks. And it's funny in a way because John did predict a Brochacho blindside tonight, so yeah, I think John should be proud of himself. No offense to John, but I did not think he would make it to the final 3 just because he's a famous wrestler. I don't think they'd want him to win. I definitely did predict that John would probably make it to at least the merge, or I thought he'd be the merge vote. So it looks like next week Kara might up her game because she's getting sick of Dan. As Angelina mentioned, Dan's getting cocky, and I guess Dan, it doesn't show it, but it looks like Dan might be pissed that he used his idol on Angelina, so Kara wants to distance herself from Dan, and Kara at one point, I guess, mentions that Dan's a threat, he needs to go. But Nick, in a confessional, says that they could be lying again. They could be lying to him again. They don't know who to trust. So yeah, very good episode of Survivor. Very good Tribal Council. If you guys want to check out Survivor, it is on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. on CBS. Until next time, stay regal.